So welcome to the session, Feeling Monsters Attack at the Kahoot Edu Summit. Whether you're joining us live right now, welcome, or joining us on demand afterwards, glad that you could make the time to join the session. I guess tip number one, the feelings monsters, they need to be named to be tamed, hence the title, The Feeling Monsters Attack. Feelings need to be named in order to be tamed. That's not to mean discounted, dismissed, or diminished, but to be regulated so that they can help us, not hinder us. Now, if we're not following one another on social at the moment, why not? My Twitter handle's at the bottom of most screens. Would love you to join, contribute your thoughts around this topic of social and emotional learning, why it matters so much in education right now. So I'm an educator of 30 years experience, from the classroom to the staff room to the boardroom, and now in Microsoft education. And I guess along all of those different roles, something's remained the same, and that's this passion, this interest in empowering every learner on the planet to do more, to be more, and to contribute more. That's the ultimate aim. I also engage with a number of other groups around this space of emotional intelligence and social and emotional learning. You can see them on the screen. I founded the Cell and Edu community on Facebook. It's heading towards 20,000 people now. Involved with Mind Up for Life, the Emotional Intelligence Society of Australia, I'm an ambassador for, and the Karanga Global Cell community. So clearly it's a topic of interest, and of course it should be for all of us, because as we know, learning is a social process. It's something best done together, and therefore it is an emotional process. But somebody talked earlier on about emotion check-ins. Have a little bit of a think right now. You can pop it in a response tool if you have one, or just consider it. How chihuahua are you feeling right now? Curious to know the answer to that. Emotion check-ins are really important, but there's also a little bit of a challenge to them. Let me go through that. They're great because they signal a significance of the role that emotions play in our everyday lives. So that's important. Just creating the time has benefit. They're great because they create a space to pause, to reflect. If you like, they provide a cognitive break, especially in a busy flow of classroom time between one lesson and another, or from break time to back to class time. But there's also a challenge, right? Because we often feel multiple emotions at once. A student might feel anxious and also excited. You know, they're excited because it's their birthday. They're anxious because they have a party after school and they're not sure if somebody's going to arrive or not. So we constantly feel multiple emotions at once. So that's where emotion check-ins can be a little bit tricky. The other thing that can be a challenge for emotion check-ins is if you don't have an accurate vocabulary to be able to identify an emotion. I like to use things like the mood meter. This one's borrowed, if you like, from the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence mood meter. And I like it because it recognizes the low and high energy emotions. And sometimes it's good just to ask that question. What energy level is your emotion today? High, low? Plus also along the bottom axis, sometimes it can be negative, positive. Other times you might see it represented as being pleasant, unpleasant, or even helpful, unhelpful. But emotion check-ins and organizers like Mood Meter are important for two reasons. One is they recognize that emotions are always in motion, which is why the word emotion is emotion. It comes from the Latin motto, which means to move. So emotions are always in motion. And number two, all emotions matter and serve a purpose. When I'm at the gym and I really need to push hard mentally, sometimes I get myself kind of angry and frustrated with myself. Maybe when I'm preparing for a presentation, it's good for me to be anxious. but I need to recognize how I can get from one emotional state to another that best serves me. And in the classroom, we all know this. Emotions are literally the gatekeeper of how we make sense of our world, our cognition, why we do what we do, our emotion, and where we direct our scarcest resource, our attention. Emotions are the gatekeeper, and it's emotional intelligence that gives us the capacity to be able to control the gatekeepers, to tame, if you like, the feeling monsters. They're coming up in just a moment. I've got a feeling monster sticker on me. It's all happening. So how do we do this? 5 ways. All students have to develop an emotional vocabulary. They need to be able to accurately label and express emotions. Over time, developing more granular words, shifting from mad, bad, sad, glad to nuances of frustrated, angry, hesitant, unsure, confident, ecstatic. Students have to build strategies and practice before they have to use it. When you need to resolve a conflict, isn't the ideal time to learn how to resolve a conflict. So building strategies, practicing, rehearsing. Number 3, observing other people, observing experts, navigate their inner self, navigate their social self. It matters a lot. In fact, a frustrated teacher is indeed the most powerful lesson, how they manage that. And that doesn't mean we act as though we don't have feelings, but we act as though we recognize those feelings, we understand them, we recognize, understand, can label them, express them, and indeed we can regulate them. Students have to have opportunities to pause, reflect, and build skills, and it should be fun, engaging, interesting, amusing, hence the Chihuahua check-in. We asked educators across the globe what they needed to know more about to help students last year, and none of them said maths, science, and spelling, and we know that's important. I'm not diminishing foundational skills. But teachers across 3 countries said, we need to know more about the complexities faced by students in and out of the class. We need to know more about the emotional state of students. And big topic for Kahoot, we need to know what motivates students to be their best selves, to persist when things are tough, to show grit and determination when work has passion and purpose. So we introduced a group of feeling monsters, 52 of them, representing low energy, high energy, pleasant, unpleasant emotions in a tool which sits inside of Teams in Microsoft, free for teachers and students. They're called the feeling monsters, and they're within a tool called Reflect, which provides check-ins on emotional state, but also check-ins on the confidence and competence of the learner. And you can see on the screen an example of the calendar that students get, which shows them their emotion check-ins over time. So they can realize that over time their emotions fluctuate, that inside factors and external factors affect how they feel, and how they feel affects their thoughts and affects their actions. You must be able to name it to tame it. Now, the reflections sitting inside Reflect ask questions from simple to expanded. So this is important. This is developing the language of emotions. This is becoming, as Mark Brackett from Yale would say, an emotion detective, an emotion scientist, not an emotion judge. You can also choose questions around learning to measure student confidence, because we know the more confident students feel, the more successful students are. So Mark Brackett, my good friend at Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, says this: you must be able to name it in order to tame it. So we partnered with Kahoot, which was awesome. I was presenting for Microsoft in San Diego. Craig from Kahoot was there. We got talking about a shared passion that we have around empowering young people to be their best so they can do their best and contribute their best. And that quickly spun up this amazing game. So there's about 8 games sitting in Kahoot, the Feeling Monster games. There's a shortcut link, plus there's also a QR code there. We have it translated into a couple of languages at the moment. And you can see at the moment, we've got about 1.1 million participants. There's been about 240,000 gameplays, covering everything from gratitude, I'm just checking my chat, gratitude and anger management to managing stress, and then in understanding the categories of emotions from uncomfortable to comfortable emotions, helping every learner to get better at recognizing, understanding, labeling, expressing, and regulating their emotional self. Plus, but wait, there's more. Sitting here is also some professional development for teachers, introducing social and emotional learning, the process by which young people develop social and emotional skills into the classroom. Higher level of social and emotional skills contributes directly to student well-being, contributes directly to student academic success. If we want young people to catch up, to keep up, to get ahead, we must pay careful attention to the social and emotional dimension of learning. And this game sitting in Kahoot can help that. If you're somebody using Microsoft Teams, well, Kahoot is integrated with Microsoft Teams. So within your Teams environment, you can not only play the games, but you can use Reflect and reflect upon the emotions that they generate as students start to become emotion detectives, emotion scientists, and less like emotion judges. Because what we see isn't always what people are feeling. So the best thing we can do is to listen and listen some more. And tools like Kahoot allow us to listen at scale, engage at scale. So you can find out more about the Feeling Monsters, all 52 of them, got to catch them all. You can get the link again to the Kahoot game from the aka.ms/cell link. That will also take you to a whole bunch of other technology tools which can help develop social and emotional skills like Mindful Night, a medieval quest for mindfulness available in Minecraft, the Kahoot game and Flipgrid, and tons more at that bottom link. And at the top link, that's the community that I founded and I manage, a completely free, fully moderated Cell in Edu. Would love for people to join and continue the conversation around this critical topic of social and emotional skills.